A friend of mine told me the other day that I am afraid to be loved. And of course, in my head, in my very busy head, I had a bit of a hissy fit about this because I thought, who, me? Me? And I immediately said, but I wake up every day feeling completely and utterly loved. I go to sleep every day feeling completely and utterly loved. I mean, I am loved by the best of them. Spirit is unconditionally loving. The universe is unconditionally loving. I have had a master energy walk by my side and teach me how to love. This is what God dogs do. They teach you how to love. So I, of all people on the planet, know how to love and presumably be loved. And then I had to think about it, and I very sheepishly admitted that I don't believe in love the way most human beings believe in it. I don't have this romanticized ideal about it. I don't actually believe that human beings know how to love. And I remember writing a newsletter once about how mothers always claim to be so unconditionally loving of their children. And I was saying, but that's hogwash. That's a lie. You spend a lot of your time telling your children all the things they do wrong and punishing them for it. So how unconditionally loving is that? And then another friend said to me today, like Paddy used to remind me often, that love itself is this crazy thing. It's a feeling, it's an emotion, it's even our fears expressed, it's all of these things. And when it comes to light workers, and she meant us, light workers think they have the corner on love, that's their block and they own it. And because they're so connected to spirit, they don't actually need to know more about the human kind of love. And yet, a huge part of being a healer is about the human kind of love. Stop that. Yes. And in the midst of this conversation, I thought, oh my God, Navi, you have spent a lot of your time hiding. When Paddy started getting sick, it was so much easier to hide from love, to manage it all. And so I might see other people hiding in their lives, hiding from the possibility of getting hurt, hiding from the possibility of being vulnerable or being rejected. But I've spent my entire spiritual life practicing how to be vulnerable and practicing how to be present and practicing love. I mean, after all this practicing, you would think I had gotten it right. And to some extent, I have. And then there is another part of me that knows that the next step of love is allowing that no matter how good you are at loving, at being the active lover or the one who loves, which is effectively the one who is in charge, the one who is deciding, the one who is choosing, the one who is rescuing or being needed or pressing all of the right buttons. There is the passive side of that, the not so active side of that, that requires that one must just allow oneself to be loved, to accept, to receive. And I am very good at teaching all of that too. And I am very willing to receive, preferably if the universe is the giver. And if it is the universe, then I know it comes from an unconditionally loving space. But if it is humanity, then humanity is like a bit much, Humanity takes practice, and humanity takes work. And humanity takes, oh my God, the absence of judgment and the absence of fear and the challenge of living that every day. So yes, it is much easier to love and be loved by spirit, and it is much easier to love and be loved by dogs, and it is much easier to love and be loved by all of the human beings who do not have ego, all of the souls who do not have ego and who do not have history and do not have past and do not have all of their own dramas to disturb your peace. But I think one of the most valuable things that Paddy said often, and even when she was dying, is that you have to let people love you as they love you, Granny. You know, that people have to love you on their terms. And that the way they love you is their action, is their way of being. And it doesn't matter whether it matches the way you love them or not. It's just a different language. And it doesn't matter if it meets all of your needs, because love is not intended to meet your needs. It's intended to give you a space in which you can just be yourself and answer your own needs. And she also used to say, you know, Granny, you just have to forgive people for being people. You know, people choose to be people. Otherwise, there'd be souls and they wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be having so much fun. So you have to forgive them for being human. You have to forgive them for being less in some way, and then forgive yourself for making the judgment that they are less in some way. So this afternoon I had a whole other conversation. My God, I do a lot of talking. And in the midst of this, I heard myself saying, but everyone is born free to love. That's our natural state of being. I, the soul, is born from love, and I am born free to love. And when I experience pain or rejection or abandonment or judgment in others, then I start to learn that there is a price to be paid for loving. And of course, any form of criticism that goes with that says there is a price to be paid for being loved. And we've talked about this. We've talked about how other people's expectations, other people's beliefs, other people's desires and needs, other people then determine to what extent we are willing to love, or even, in some really sad cases, able to love. And yet, we are born free. Who is it that said we are born free and are everywhere in chains? Jean-Paul Sartre? No? The other one?
Voltaire.
Voltaire. No, it wasn't Voltaire.
It was one of those.
I can't remember.
Man is born free but is everywhere in chains. And those chains are actually of our own thinking and our willingness to be trapped, bound by the past.
Jean-Jacques Rousseau.
Can we not go there now?
Okay, it's gonna bump me now.
We're going to have this whole conversation right now. Can we finish it before we move into meditation? Sartre, I'm telling you. Go with that one.
No idea.
Well, the road to hell is paved with good intentions is another one. I think, therefore I am, a whole other one. So I've always changed that one to say, I am, therefore I think. So I am born free and I remain free is the way I'm changing this one, because really that's a choice. We can choose to be bound in chains everywhere, the chains of the past and the change of the fears and the changes and the unknowns and all of those things. All of those things can bind us and tie us down, or we can set ourselves free back into our natural states of freedom. In this country, it takes on a whole other thought process for me, because as a democracy, we keep claiming our rights and our freedoms and our responsibilities. And yet, the choice to live those, to be those, moves beyond just how we think of ourselves and how we think of our societies. It's there in our everyday lives, in how we choose to manage ourselves, how we choose to manage the people we interact with. And when I listen to everything that's going on and I see everything that's going on, I see how easy it is to justify the chains, how easy it is to justify the doing less and the being less and the choosing less. when in fact we are free, essentially free, to choose to be better human beings all the time. And I feel, more so than I think, I feel love is the most difficult of all things for human beings because it is the most mysterious, the most enigmatic, the most demanding, the most uplifting, because it is the most everything. And it takes us to extremes in our world. It challenges us at every turn, in every possible relationship, in every possible role, in every sacred contract, in every interaction. So the big love, the big universal, way out there, oceans deep and fathoms high, reaching the heavens kind of love, is easy. It's so easy. But the daily love, oh dear. Walks in the park, Granny, and treats, and chasing monkeys and belly rubs. Only one poo a day, Granny. Just cuddles and scratching my ears. This is daily love. And it's the daily love, it's the everyday love, it's the little things. Love is in the details. It's the little things that make us more inside out. It's those little things that bring us closer to God and closer to grace and closer to our truest selves, to our natural state of being. It's a wet nose in your face at 2 o'clock in the morning. And it's letting go when you have to. It's holding on when you can and letting go when you have to. And we don't even call those things love. We call those things our daily lives. We take them for granted and we do them all the time. We feed people and clean up after them. We open doors and windows and we wash dishes and we drive long distances and we make phone calls and we send texts and we send pictures and we do all of these little things that connect us to each other. And we don't realize or remember that this is the action of love. That the thought from which we send it is the action of love. And that love requires action. It requires action and expression, but it's easy to talk love. It's not so easy to act it. Dogs wag their tails when you arrive and you know you are loved. Happy barks and welcoming energy and just the whole demeanor, the whole body is an action of love. And us human beings are so well trained to hold that inside of ourselves. And then when we meet it in others, when we see it in others who are willing to express it and be it and let it shine through them, then we are suspicious and doubtful. Oh, Paddy Pumpkin. The big love, the I love God and I love my universal family and I even love myself is easy. Where is the challenge in that? It's the deeper daily love that is so much hard work. accepting that people are imperfect and that they're going to hurt you and loving them anyway, that's hard work. Loving them and they might leave you anyway, that's hard work. Loving them and they might not like you so much, that's hard work. Loving them and they're discovering that you're actually awful underneath it all, that's hard work. But that's the work. That's the work of being human. Fish don't stop swimming because the ocean is deeper. If anything, they swim harder. They don't stop wiggling because they're on a hook. If anything, they wiggle harder. So what have you got to lose? If you just start being who you are, inside out, from your natural state, from your highest possible self, and from the tiny details of your daily life, to just love. If the biggest outcome every lifetime has is that you loved, it is enough. More importantly, if the biggest outcome you have is that you were loved, it is enough. I am always so grateful, so very grateful to know how loved I am. I take great joy in knowing that I can shut my house down and move countries and come back at any moment in time and claim one of 20 homes in South Africa as my own, not because they're large houses with plenty of bedrooms, but because the people who live in those homes love me. That is the greatest joy. So one of the things about love is that it sets you free. It sets you free in ways that inside out are actually indescribable, enigmatic, mysterious again. And when we do let it set us free, we become all of those things we didn't know was possible, that we remained elusive for so long. So yes, when we love people, they may do a whole range of things, including die. But that is their own promise and fulfillment of that promise for themselves. And we must love them anyway. We must give them treats anyway. We must bring their food bowls to them wherever they are anyway. And we must wake up in the middle of the night because they're sore or fussy or having a nightmare and cuddle them anyway. Because that's what love does. A few months ago, I channeled this whole meditation with Sai Baba, or Shirdi Baba, in which he was talking about compassion and trust. And before that, we talked with Oshu about being strangers. And one of the threads that comes through from all of this channeling and meditating that we've done is that there's no one way, there's no one expression, there's no one frequency, there's no one form of love. There's no right love or wrong love. There's no in love or out of love. That love just is. And however it is, where it is, the challenge is to interact with it as it is, to not try to fit it into something else, to break down any of the walls you might have placed around it, to take away any of the barriers you might be putting on it, so that it can be set free. So I think that's part of my learning this week, that I actually have to love enough to set love free in order to set myself free. So I'm delighted. Delighted or uplighted? Uplighted. I'm uplighted. Thank you. It gets funnier by the minute. Yeah, can I just be delighted? Thank you. Okay. Spirit says we have very strange language because when you de something, it's like you've removed it. You delight it. Then you take away the light. So I must say I'm uplighted. Like uplifted. Okay, I'm enlightened. Thank you. Enlightened. Okay, let's go with that one. I am delighted. You know what I mean. Oh dear God. You see, even with spirit you must get into big arguments. I am delighted. I am. Yes, I am. Thank you. Okay, let's just go with I am. This is not working. So many arguments. Okay, let's just meditate then. I am delighted. Doesn't matter. Whatever it is that I am that. See, even in channeling you wind up with the big argument. When it comes to love, it's like you don't have to qualify the I am. You don't even have to say I am love, because when you say I am, or you acknowledge I am, then that immediately puts you into oneness with everything. That is love. The answer to every question is what? What is homework? Love. Yeah. You see? So why would you need all of these other statements when the answer is always love? If you want to turn tail and run, the answer is love. If you want to get under your duvet and hide, the answer is love. If you want to lock all of the doors and the windows and make sure Charmaine can't find you, the answer is love. Dear God, did we just say that as well? We did. Okay. If something's going to die and you have to let it go, the answer is love. If something's going to be healed in the letting go, the answer is love. There is no other answer. Okay, let us meditate. All right, everyone, let's just take a nice deep breath in and get grounded. And there in your mind's eye, as you are putting down roots, I want you just for a moment to recognize that this earth, this nurturing mother energy, is always fully present. Wherever you go in your human form, you are on earth. And when we say things like, "We're on earth," it is the acknowledgement that it is somewhere here, present with us, with humanity, accessible. The power of words is so great. So for yourself, recognize that this presence of the earth is 100% accessible and available 24 hours a day. It is the gift of being incarnated. And that when we say we're on earth, we recognize that there is only so far that you can travel, only so far you can go in your body to traverse this globe, this earth, and to measure your travels in distance. These are some of the limitations of being human that give us stability, security, even safety. These are the boundaries of being human that leave us feeling comfortable in our physical bodies. So as part of getting grounded, let us acknowledge that stability, that security, that safety, that gives us solid foundations for being present with self and with others, that gives us solid foundations to move forward. So breathe deeply. Give yourself permission to feel the earth supporting you while you are able to burden her. And take a moment to acknowledge that we burden her with buildings, and we burden her with walls. We burden this unconditionally loving earth energy, this divine feminine creative principle, with self all the time. And it remains an unconditionally loving, accepting energy system, still providing foundations, grounding, rooting, healing. So get grounded, get centered, get present with the divine feminine earth energy, and feel it loving you. Feel it holding you stable and steady as you breathe. Feel it providing a space within which you are able to act, to learn, to grow. And let those roots go even deeper with a profound sense of gratitude. There is no greater mother than the earth. With all of her beauty and all of her magnificent mountains and oceans and streams and lakes and waterfalls and vast diversity of flora and fauna, she supports a great deal of life, all life. Even at the depths of the ocean, there is earth. And just for a moment, let that feeling of being so unconditionally loved, so unconditionally accepted, flow into your being. And acknowledge how much you take it for granted, how much you simply allow it in your life without ever stopping to consider how loved you are, how this relationship between you and the earth is one of love. Just feel that for a moment, that the relationship between you and the earth is one of love, an unconditionally accepting, allowing kind of love. And settle into it. See if you can just slide into that feeling and let it embrace you. Let yourself relax into it. But if you find your brain questioning it, if you find your brain doubting it, if your brain is reciting a litany of ways in which the earth has let you down, and not given you everything you require to be present on the earth? Stop. Breathe. Recognize that the earth is only the space, the loving, unconditional space in which you are choosing, deciding, and creating for yourself. That the earth's action of love is to provide for your presence. And come back into that natural state of communion and connection with the earth. And then very gently bring your attention up to your base chakra. This chakra that connects you to the earth and connects you to your earth plane family. Connects you to all of the experiences of learning how to love, how to be loved, how to judge love and fear love, how to reject love. So here is the earth energy flowing upward gently and keeping you stable and safe and secure. And here is the base chakra energy introducing unsafety, insecurity, fear, rejection, abandonment, loss, grief, the realization of death. And there in your mind's eye, I want you to feel what is happening between your base chakra and the earth. What is happening here in the base chakra where money and power and sex and identity are driving forces? Is the base chakra closed? Does it choose to deny its dependency on the earth? Is the base chakra open just enough to receive what it needs to survive? Is the base chakra fully open, willing, able to be supported by the earth in being fully present? However it is, set a clear intention to allow the earth energy to flow upward into the base and to open it up fully so that the 4 petals of the base chakra may blossom. So that the 4 petals of the base chakra open and start to quiver and get aligned of their own accord. Let the earth energy flood all the way up into the base chakra and remind you that the base chakra is also about belonging. I belong to the earth. For as long as I am present on it, I belong to it. I belong to the earth in being of the 5 elements of it. The earth is my home. I chose Earth as my home. And most importantly, that there is no price, there is no cost, there is no expectation, there is no sacrifice required of you in this receiving from the earth. That it is indeed a priceless connection. That even as the energy flows upward and from you downward, it does so freely. That the upward flow is consistent and unconditional, and that the downward flow is controlled only by your awareness. That the upward flow keeps you present all the time, in all times, and that the downward flow, determined by you, may leave you absent, unmindful, even incoherent in your role as human. So focus. Let us feel both the upward flow, supporting you, loving you, and the downward flow, connecting you to the source of that support, being open and receptive and blossoming being fully present and allowing, resting, just resting in the earth's embrace. Just resting in the knowledge that being present is enough. Just resting, being quiet, being even at peace for a moment. And letting the foundation chakra, that base chakra, gather as much energy as it needs to leave you feeling stable, safe, and secure enough to love, to allow yourself to be loved. Let that base chakra blossom, flowing downward and upward and to the front and to the back of you, in all four directions of those petals. Let that energy flow all the way up your energetic spine in its connectedness with your crown. Let it flow downward into the earth in acceptance. Let it flow into your auric field, into your present moment, and into your past. Setting a foundation that spreads in all directions in a fully holistic, circular pattern around you. And as it flows, creating this energy system around you, a mandala, a circle, if you will, I am here to remind you that life is not a cross to be carried, It is not a burden to be borne. Life is the adventure of being God on the earth plane. It is the adventure of being love on the earth plane. And it is the discovery of self as love. So let the energy of that base chakra, filled with the unconditionally loving and healing and accepting energy of the earth, flow all around you in a holistic pattern. Feel it flooding your base chakra and flowing upward, downward, outward, radiating into your entire auric field and all of the chakras above it. Let it send a message to your heart center that it is safe to love, that the earth plane is a stable space in which to love, and that which of the earth, that which is of the earth, is also safe to be loved. Let it send a message to your third eye that all of the choices and decisions and information and the gathering of knowing, all of the wisdom of self, is intended for love on the earthly plane, as an expression of love as it exists in the heavenly planes. And let it send a message to your throat that the expression of love and the action of love is safe, stable, and secure, as an expression and an act of self. And then let it send a message to your crown chakra. Let it send a message of gratitude. I am grateful to love. I am blessed to be loved. And tell your crown chakra to invite more and more and more of the same, that you may experience love in all of its forms and frequencies on the earth plane, that your life should be a constantly unfolding adventure of love, that the love of flowers and animals and trees and mountains and oceans should become present in exactly those elements in all of the human beings you know. And that all of the challenges of finding grace should also be present, that you become better and better and better at loving in every moment. Send a message to your crown chakra and your third eye and your throat and your heart center. And ask most sincerely that they ensure that you are always worthy of love by being a worthy lover. That you are worthy of giving by being a worthy giver. And that in both you become a worthy recipient. And then bring your attention back to your base chakra. and realize deeply, there in the core of your being and in the foundations of your presence, that the earth recognizes that you are worthy always. That here in this flow between you and the divine earth energy, this nurturing mother energy, there is no criteria, no judgment, no expectation, no condition. You are worthy. So just rest for a moment. Relax. Feel loved. Just feel loved. And if anywhere in your being, anywhere in your physical body, anywhere in your mind, there is a doubt or a resistance or a disbelief, then please float to the ceiling. Do not mistake the energy of the earth with the energy of other human beings. Do not mistake the energy of the earth with the behavior of others. Do not mistake the energy of the earth with man-made systems and man-made rules and man-made pathways. Do not mistake the energy of the earth with religions and cultures and creeds. It has existed long before that and works in harmony with the stars. Do not mistake the energy of the earth with anything that your ego mind produces. Connect with it directly, consciously, mindfully. And know that whatever you have built on it, it is still earth beneath all of that. That the burdens we have placed on it have not made it less in its love, have not made it less in its giving. And when you have rested in it enough, and if you are able to feel it, send it back, return it, make the flow as mutual as possible. Tell your base chakra to send a message to the divine feminine earth energy of love, of acceptance, of gratitude. Send a message to the earth that your presence on it is a presence that actions and activates this love that is given so freely and voluntarily. my left hand side, I have Shakti energy coming up, and she says, on this earth, you are so fond, you are so good at looking up. You all look up and you see the sun and you see the moon. But you do not look down to see that which allows you to look up. Where you stand is the beginning. So for your information, you should look down a little more often. Make sure that your energy is still fully grounded. This entire meditation has been about being connected to the earth, so you should still be grounded. Make sure that the flow of energy between the earth and your base chakra is still present. Allow it to continue. It is a consistent flow that you should be aware of all of the moments of your life, whether you are walking, sitting, running, or driving, or sleeping. And on a deep breath in, bring yourself back to this moment, here and now.